has put a separation between you and your enemies, your haters, the people that don't like you. God has separated. Separation is required. And God is dealing with them, and he is harassing them. He is harassing them. If it hasn't started, it will. He is harassing your enemies. God has made a path through the sea for you and darkness for your enemies. Now, in Exodus 14, verse 19, it says, Then the angel of God who was leading the people of Israel moved the cloud around behind them, and it stood between the people of Israel and the Egyptians. And that night, as it changed to a pillar of fire, it gave darkness to the Egyptians, but light to the people of Israel. So the Egyptians couldn't find the Israelites. Your enemies can't find you. God has put something between you and your enemies. Separation. They cannot find you. But as the Lord looked down, he began to harass. He began to harass the Egyptians. And wheels started falling off. It says, but in the early morning, Jehovah looked down from the cloud of fire upon the array of the Egyptians and began to harass them. Their chariot wheels began coming off, so that their chariots scraped along the dry ground. And they said, let's get out of here. The Egyptians yelled, Jehovah is fighting for them and against us. Your enemies cannot see what's about to happen. God has already started telling them to leave you alone, to stop accusing you, to stop talking about you. They don't want peace. And that's how Pharaoh was. Pharaoh didn't want peace. He kept coming for Israelites. He kept coming. He didn't want peace. But God was for the Egyptian, or was for the Israelites, but the Egyptians kept running up behind them, but they couldn't see, because the pillar of fire gave darkness to the Egyptians and light to the Israelites, so that they couldn't find them. And this is what happened. God has put a separation between you and your enemies, and they're not able to touch you, but that doesn't stop them from still trying to bother you. They still keep trying to come on and accuse you and say some things about you, try to rip your character down. They won't stop. They don't know how to quit. And God said, I'm going to harass your enemies. Harass them. Pharaoh and them, chariot wheels and everything else, his men started, their chariot wheels, the Egyptians, their chariot wheels started coming off. Their chariot wheels came off. And when they came off, they was like, let's get out of here, because God is on their side and he's not on our side. He's fighting for them. Your enemies are going to know that it was God that is telling them to back off. Back off. The enemy has used them to try to harass you, to bother you. The haters, the people that don't like you. But God has, and this is why it's vital that you separate yourself when God tells you to separate from people that don't like you. I remember I did a video and I said that God is going to, and this was probably a couple months ago, God is going to have your enemies say something to you in plain view. I think it was a month ago. Basically talk about you right in your face. Because a lot of times God will give you a dream to show you that they're doing that, talking about you, but you won't get it. So then God will make them say something to you right out flat in your face. And you'll know that then, oh man, they're talking about me. Let me get away from them. But by that time, God already spoke to you through a prophet, through a dream, he's already spoke to you and told you to separate. God is separating you from them because they are about to get harassed. And they can't see what is taking place because they too just angry and just allowing the devil to make them talk about you and harass you and say all these things about you. But little do they know, they picked the wrong one. They picked the wrong one to mess with you. And God is removing their chariot wheels. God is removing their chariot wheels. So keep going, because God has made your path light and the path of the Egyptians, your enemies, your haters, is dark. So they can't see, but they're chasing you into destruction. Not you into it, but they're chasing themselves into it. And they can't see. And they can't see you either, because God done separated y'all. And they're chasing, but pray for them and keep going. And just like God said, quit praying to get the people moving. Keep going. You didn't pray and ask God to bless your enemies and everything, and you didn't pray for them to be blessed and all that. These people still trying to bring harm to you. Your reputation, they trying to bring harm to you. Whatever, some people trying to bring harm to you physically, but people are trying to bring harm to you emotionally, verbally, and they won't stop. They just continue to keep coming, talking about you, whatever the case might be. But they are walking into the path of destruction. People do not understand the power of God and the power of God that's on your life. They don't get it. But keep going. Keep going. I pray that this message helps you. God bless you. Be blessed.